Have you ever noticed the higher someone climbs in leadership, the less truth they hear? It's almost ironic, right? The more power you have, the fewer people are willing to tell you when you're wrong. When you become the boss, suddenly your jokes sound funnier, your ideas brighter, your flaws almost invisible. And that's exactly where the danger begins. Because leadership isn't just about making decisions. It's about seeing yourself clearly enough to make the right ones. And that clarity, that self-awareness, might just be the most underrated superpower in leadership. So today, let's explore how some of the world's most powerful leaders fell victim to their own blind spots, and how others broke through them to lead with courage, humility, and strength. At a CEO leading a $10 billion energy company had everything: success, reputation, results. But there was one problem. He was quiet, reserved, introverted. His employees saw him as distant, disconnected, someone they couldn't relate to. Now, most leaders in his position would say, "That's just who I am." But not him. He did something unusual. He took out all the chairs from his office. Why? Because it forced him to stand, to walk around, to engage face to face. No hiding behind a desk. No escaping into comfort. He made it impossible for himself to retreat. And in doing so, he transformed the way he led. That's self-awareness in action. Seeing your weakness, naming it, and then building a system to face it every single day. The truth is, our biggest enemies as leaders aren't competitors or markets. They're the blind spots we refuse to see inside ourselves. There's an old Japanese saying that captures this perfectly. It says, every person has three faces. The first face, the one you show the world. The second, the one you show only to close friends and family. And the third, the one you hide even from yourself. That third face is where your blind spots live. It's where your fears, insecurities, and hidden motives hide, quietly shaping your actions, your relationships, your leadership. And unless you have the courage to look at that hidden face, it controls you without you even realizing it. One executive learned this the hard way. During an interview for a CEO position, his peers gave him feedback. "You're too controlling," instead of reflecting on it. He spent the entire hour arguing about how wrong they were. And right there, in that defensive reaction, he proved them right. Needless to say, he didn't get the job, because what you can't see about yourself will always shape your future in ways you can't control. What exactly are these blind spots? Think about driving a car. You've got mirrors, but there are still angles you can't see. Now imagine trying to change lanes without checking them. That's how leadership blind spots work. As you climb higher in an organization, feedback gets quieter. People stop telling you the truth because they don't want to offend the boss. So you start missing things. You don't realize how your tone affects people, how your confidence can sometimes feel like arrogance. And without realizing it, you create a culture that mirrors your own weaknesses. The story of Richard Fuld, CEO of Lehman Brothers, is a painful example. As early as 2005, people warned him the real estate market was in danger, but he refused to listen. He thought his strategy was bulletproof. Even after Lehman's collapse triggered a global financial crisis, he blamed the market, not himself. That's what happens when blind spots take over. They don't just hurt your career. They can destroy everything you've built. So, how do you actually see what you can't see? Let's talk about 3 powerful tools. First, external feedback. This means creating systems that tell you the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. A 360-degree review is one of the best ways. It collects feedback from your boss, your peers, and your team. Like Sarah, a VP who thought her direct communication style was efficient. Her 360 review showed something surprising. Her peers found her clear, but her direct reports found her intimidating. That one insight changed everything. She learned to balance clarity with empathy, and her team flourished. You can also get feedback from mentors, people outside your organization who aren't afraid to be honest with you. They see what others are too polite to say. And then there are peer advisory groups, small circles of professionals who meet regularly to discuss challenges and hold each other accountable. They keep your growth on track. Second, internal reflection. Self-awareness doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from thinking honestly. Try journaling every day, not about what happened, but what it revealed about you. Ask yourself, what assumptions did I make today that might be wrong? Or, how did my behavior affect others? And third, mindfulness. No, not the trendy buzzword. The real skill of noticing yourself in the moment. When you feel frustration, impatience, or defensiveness, pause. That pause is the doorway to awareness, because you can't change what you're not aware of. Combine these three: feedback, reflection, and mindfulness, and you'll turn random growth into intentional transformation. Let me share another story. Marcus, a department head, launched a new remote work policy. Everything seemed perfect until the chaos started. Technical failures, communication breakdowns, confused managers. What went wrong? They planned for success, but never asked, what if this doesn't work? That's another blind spot, assuming everything will go right. Great leaders don't just plan for success, they plan against failure. Try asking yourself, what if my key assumptions are wrong? How would this decision feel to a new employee? To a customer? Perspective changes everything. It helps you see what's invisible from your position. And when you encourage your team to do the same, to share uncomfortable truths, to give honest feedback, you build what's called psychological safety. That's when people stop saying what you want to hear and start saying what you need to hear. That's where growth happens. For everyone. Self-awareness isn't just about fixing weaknesses. It's also about finding your superpower, that unique strength only you bring to the table. When Steve Jobs led Apple, his power was vision, seeing what didn't yet exist. When Tim Cook took over, his power was execution, turning that vision into flawless operation. Different strengths, same success. Your job as a leader is to find your version of that, whether it's empathy, clarity, creativity, or calm under pressure. And once you find it, double down on it. Delegate the rest. Because your greatest strength, fully unleashed, becomes your organization's greatest advantage. So, what's the takeaway? Exceptional leadership doesn't start with charisma, power, or strategy. It starts with awareness. The courage to look at yourself and say, yes, this is where I'm strong. And yes, this is where I need to grow. The leaders who do that, who build systems for truth, who listen more than they speak, who reflect more than they react, they're the ones who inspire trust, build lasting impact, and lead with wisdom. So don't chase perfection. Chase awareness. Because once you can see yourself clearly, you can lead others with purpose, honesty, and heart. And that is the beginning of real leadership. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe for more deep insights into leadership, mindset, and growth. And tell me in the comments, what's your biggest leadership blind spot? Because awareness starts with a single honest answer.